So look, what if you're the only thing standing between where you are now and where you want to be? 2 years ago, I got a call from my business partner. She told me she was leaving our creative agency. She said the ups and the downs were unmanageable, I took too many risks, and that she herself felt like she was losing herself throughout all of the chaos. And you know what? She wasn't wrong. Yes, we had great clients, but we lost a bunch too. And yes, we made money, but there were times where we had to choose between paying rent or paying the team. And on the day that she left, I was in £150,000 worth of debt, in a lot of shock, and had a lot of questions. And that moment changed everything. I made a promise to myself that one day I will become the leader that I needed to be. And fast forward 2 years, I'm a tech entrepreneur building a national award winning app set to disrupt the entire industry. It's quite a game changer. I have investors. I run a team of 22 out of Canary Wharf in London, and we're in partnership talks with some of the biggest companies in the world. It sounds like I've got it all figured out, right? Well, I don't, and here's the truth. I'm still in 150K worth of debt. Our award-winning app hasn't even launched yet. We're not making money. And despite all of my optimism and hustle, there's still one thing that I've realized. I'm still getting in my own way. And in 2024, I started tracking my daily success habits. I call them ticks. So if I do a habit, I get a tick. And if I don't do a habit, then I get an empty box. And after tracking for 1 year, I actually saw the truth in 2024. I completed only 67% of my daily habits, and I hit just 52% of my yearly goals. That's a pretty half in, half out month, right? And it made me wonder, if I got this far with all this, things that seem like success with only 67%, where could I be if I hit 80% or 90%? And that question changed everything. I realized that my biggest problem wasn't time, resources, or knowledge. It was accountability. When my business partner left, although she left and she didn't really know it at the time, she was actually holding me accountable. She was the person holding me accountable every single day. And to be honest, I've been half-assing it ever since. So I asked myself, what if I built a YouTube channel where you hold me accountable? What if instead of one person, I had 100 or 1,000 who kept me on track? And that's why I created Go. Get out of your way. This isn't reels. This isn't highlights. This is real stuff. This is the daily grind, the daily focus that is required to be successful. And so for the next 365 days, I'll post every single day to track my progress and share the success principles that I'm using on a daily basis to craft my own success. You'll see the 4:30 a.m. wake ups. You'll hear the lessons I'm learning. You'll get free blueprints to download and use. And we'll dive deep into the minds of other interesting and successful people who are using similar success principles to craft major success in their own life. And I'll break down your questions into simple, actionable steps that you can actually take away and use for yourself as well. This is raw, this is unfiltered, no fancy edits, just you and I on a journey to massive success. This is Get Out of Your Way 365. I'm Pierre Yamfam, and let's figure this out together. Okay, so what is the point of all this? What is Go and why now? Okay, so what is the point of all this? Look, everything I do in my life, every single thing that I do is directed and fueled by my why. My why, the reason why I exist, my purpose, my vision, it's all fueled by this singular cause and this singular crusade that I'm on. And that is to empower humanity with the ability to challenge their current lives, challenge what is, for a better world that can be. That is why I'm here. I am here to equip other human beings to challenge the way things are around them so that they can build better worlds for themselves and for their families. That is why I exist. I am a tool for that singular purpose, and that is what I found. And it drives everything that I do. I'm very excited. I wake up in the morning thinking about ways that I can help and empower other people. And it's really shown up in everything that I do, from my design agency, my creative agency that I mentioned earlier in the intro, all the way through to the app, the nationally award-winning app that we're launching this year. Every single thing that I do is to empower other people. So what is the point of Go? What is the point of this channel? First and foremost, as I mentioned again in the intro, in 2024, I was slacking. It was literally a half in, half out days, half in, half out months, half in, half out years, right? Or year. And what that means is I was only achieving basically 50% of what I said I was going to do. And that has a massive effect on how I perceive myself, my integrity, um, my self confidence. And if I say I'm going to do something, if I say I'm going to wake up at 4:30 a.m. and I don't, you know that feeling. You know when you're going to go do something, you got something to do. You say you're going to do it, especially not so much when you tell someone else, right? But more when you tell yourself that this is what I'm going to do, and the time comes and you don't execute, you don't get the job done. This is it creates a lot of internal conflict, and eventually you begin to build the identity of someone who doesn't do what they say they're going to do. And this here, you can lose respect, you can lose reputation, you can lose really the ability to execute to the highest level, because you're spending more time not executing than actually executing, right? And so the point of this whole channel is to hold me accountable in 2025 every single day to do the things that I said I'm going to do. Now, there's a bunch of research on accountability, and throughout this channel, throughout these 365 days, I'm going to be pulling up that research and going deeper into the accountability, into the results of these experiments, whereby it shows how people react. But what we know is that the more that you don't hold yourself accountable, or the more that you don't have any mechanisms to hold yourself accountable, the more likely you are to fail with your goals and the direction that you're moving in. Okay. So that's the reason why, if I go all out in this way, if I create a YouTube channel all about me posting my 4:30 a.m. wake ups every day, sharing a success habit, answering one of your questions, breaking down one of your complex, questions and making it simple and bite-sizable, making sure you guys have something to download every week completely for free. If I have these people who are depending on me to actually show up and get something done, this increases the chances of me doing what I said I was going to do. Okay. And that's the reason why, that's the purpose for this channel. Sorry, this is my first video, so I just realized I was looking at myself the whole time and I should be looking at you. So I'm sorry, I'll get there. Video one. So, yeah, this is the point of the video. This is the point of the channel. Okay. Now, why is this channel different? This channel is different because not only am I holding myself accountable throughout this channel, but I'm also providing a journey whereby I'm building what is going to be a massive company. We are already an award-winning app called Finders Force. We're already an award-winning app. We're speaking to some of the biggest companies in the world and here in the country, and but we're not there yet, right? We're not there yet. We've not signed our first client. We've not launched the app. The app is built, but we've not launched it. Yes, we have investors, but we need more. Like, all these things are happening, right? And nothing's materialized. And as I mentioned in the intro, I am still in 150K worth of debt, like sitting here in my 1-bedroom apartment, right? So nothing's taken off. And I feel like nothing's taken off in the way that it maybe could have done in 2024, because energetically and psychologically, energetically, physically, I was half-assing the year. I could feel like I was half-assing the year because, you know, I could see by tracking my daily habits and how I was operating that I really wasn't hitting the mark. And the way you behave in one place, or the way you do things in one place in your life, is the way you'll do things in other places in your life. So I'm really conscious that potentially the half-assed nature that I had in my daily habits and my daily success principles, and what I was tracking, probably showed up on the business side as well, where things were half-assed as well. So that's where we are with the business. And the reason why this channel is different is because I'm not going to get to that success and then flick a switch on my YouTube and be like, hey, let me show you some success principles, and let me guide you through the process of being successful, because I'm already there. yes, people like to see success, instantly, and like to see people who are successful already, but people actually like more to see the journey, and people actually want to see how someone got to that stage. And that's why this channel is different. By many stretches of the imagination, yes, I am very successful. However, by the metrics that I'm looking for, and by the metrics that I've set in place and the goals that I've set, I'm nowhere near where I want to be. And so this channel is specifically different because I'm not going to wait, right? I'm not going to wait till I get there before I show you, before I try and bring you guys along with me for the journey. I'm not going to wait till I get there. I'm going to bring you guys from the beginning, from 0 to 100. And that doesn't just mean the good bits, that also means the bad bits as well. That means when things go really bad, I'm still posting every single day. When things go really good, I'm still posting every single day. So this is really the purpose of the channel. This is why we're different. And I hope that this journey and this process provides you guys with a lot of value. Okay. And so what is Go? Go is incredible. Go is get out of your way. Now, there's like 5 words there, but there's only 3 letters, right? So GOW. But just check out the logo. You'll see, you've got get, then you've got a big O, which is out. Then you've got of your in little text in the middle of the O. Then you've got way, right? So it's get out of your way. Now, Go is the philosophy that I really came to understand in 2024. Okay. So in 2024, looking at my results, looking at how things were going, hearing, also running the business and listening to challenges of employees and colleagues and all of that comes with that sort of environment, what I realized is people love to speak about other people. People love to speak about external barriers, external hurdles, external this and that, and things that happened outside of them. And it's like, oh, this was the reason why this failed. That was the reason why that happened to me. And he did this and she did that. And I was listening to all of these issues because in my network, people come to me quite often for advice and perspective and guidance, right? So I'm listening to these stories throughout the year, and I keep my daily journal, my daily, I call it my reflect and upgrade journal, which I'll show you guys in this channel. And I started to just analyze, what I'm writing down and these challenges that I was receiving. And what I realized is a common pattern between all these people with all these problems. And that is that they all blame something else for why they're in that position. All of them. I was like, hold on. There's a common thread running here, right? And I was like, wow. And I looked at it and I started to think to myself, because I've always been someone who looks inside first and says to myself, oh, something isn't right with me before ever looking outside. And I rarely ever do look outside, right? Because the way I see it is that if something goes wrong and you give even 1% of what went wrong, if you assign that 1% to someone else who was involved in the issue, oh, they did this or he or she did that, as soon as you give that 1% to that person of responsibility that you could have had, what you're doing is you're giving that person power over you. Okay. And what this means is if you take 100% of the responsibility for what went wrong, regardless of the issue, and this is quite controversial because there are some really bad things that happen, but if you're able to take 100% of the responsibility for a situation, what you're doing is you're giving yourself 100% of the ability to change. And you're giving yourself 100% of the ability to level up internally with whatever it is that went on in that situation. As soon as you give, let's say, oh, half of it was my fault, but half of it was definitely their fault, you immediately box yourself into only figuring out how to fix 50% of what of the entire situation. Does this make sense? I'll give you one very quick example. Let's say, for example, we have a client at the design agency. We have a client and we list out in our first meeting, we list out, we're going to do A, B, C, D, and E. Okay. 5 things, A, B, C, D, and E. Now, fast forward 3 weeks and the client turns around and says, "Hey Pierre, I can't see F. I can't see task F." And I'm like, but we're doing A, B, C, D, and E, and we agreed that, right, in the last meeting, in our first meeting. And then the client turns around and says, "Oh no, I thought we agreed A, B, C, D, E, and F." Right? Now, in this situation, most people will be like, "Oh, the bloody client, frick me. Like this client doesn't listen. This client is this, is that, it's such a like headache. I might just drop the client." Right? Like I clearly said A, B, C, D, and E. Okay. Now, if you do that, what you're doing is, and this in this case, let's say it feels like it's 100% the client's fault, right? So in this case, what's happening is you're going to give, let's say, 80% of the fault to the client, or 90%, even 95%. And that means you're very unlikely going to find ways of leveling up yourself to make sure this doesn't happen again, because why would you? 95% of the issue is their fault. You might as well spend the other 5% of energy doing something that you enjoy, like, watching Netflix or whatever it is that you do, right? There's no point in in even thinking about that 5%. However, if you turn around and take 100% responsibility for the issue, you could turn around and say things like, all of a sudden your mindset shifts because you're not even thinking about the other person or the other party, in this case, the client. The only person you're thinking about is yourself. And it's like, damn, this is all my fault. It's 100% my fault. How could I have started a project with a client explaining to them that we're going to be doing A, B, C, D, and E, and she left the phone call and proceeded to think that we're doing A, B, C, D, E, F? How did I allow that to happen? Okay, cool. So next time when I have a client, I'm going to write down everything that we do. Number one, I'm going to record the call. Okay, so number one, I'm going to record the call so you both have a copy of the call. So she's clear and I'm clear on what got said in the call. That's number one. Number two, I'm going to write down everything that we said we're going to do in the meeting, take my notes. I'm then going to write out my notes after the meeting, or get a team member or colleague to write out the notes. I'm then going to send that via email between myself and the client to make sure that we both have a copy in writing of what we said we're going to do. Then number three, I'm going to get the client to reply to the email and sign off that they understand what I said, what we agreed on, and that she's happy. They're happy for us to proceed with the project. Can you see the difference between, in scenario A, where it is the bloody client's fault? Like, obviously that's what got said, like, I get it, right? But in scenario A, can you see how by giving the responsibility to someone else, your mindset is not fine-tuned into thinking, how can you level up? What did you get wrong and how can you do it better? You're not fine-tuned into thinking that. You're just content with giving that responsibility to someone else and letting them get on with it. But in scenario B, even though you know it's 95% their fault, in scenario B, when you take 100% of that responsibility onto yourself, your brain starts to open up and you start to think, what could I do better next time to make sure that I'm in a safe, productive and efficient and effective position moving forward? What can I do? And I went through those examples. Okay. So this is the philosophy of getting out of your own way. This is a great example of that, whereby rather than always blaming externalities for what happened, you look within, you get out of your own way, you take away the ego, you take away the pride, and you say, actually, I am the problem. It's a me thing, right? This is a me thing. I am the problem. I know there's something I could have done better, and I'm going to find out what that is, and I'm going to put it right. That's how I live my entire life. That's how I try to progress. It doesn't matter what goes wrong in my life. It's my fault, and I'm going to find a way to improve it. Full stop. Okay. And let's see how that success principle, let's see where that takes me in this journey in 2025. But it's never ever failed me having that mentality. I think the screen's behind me have just gone off, which is fine. Yeah. So, yeah. So many things to think about when you're recording a YouTube video for the first time. Like, I need to turn off the timer on the screen to make sure that the screen stay on. So many things I'm learning. The light went off earlier as well. Anyway, so that's what Go is. And why now? Why am I launching a YouTube channel in the middle of launching a company, a tech company with 22 team members and investors and all this stuff? Why am I doing both at the same time? The number one reason why I'm actually taking things in this sort of way is because I can't have another year like 2024. That's the fact of the matter. I cannot have another year like 2024. I need to do something drastic to make sure that I'm on top of my game for 2025, launching what I'm launching, doing what I'm doing, operating in the circles I'm operating in. I need to make sure I am 100% at the top of my game. And not having my business partner around anymore, she left in 2023. It's like I realized that 2024 was a year of, well, who am I? Who am I actually doing this for? And I realized that yes, I'm always doing it for myself first and foremost, but having someone there to show up, whether that's physically in the gym or your education, self-education. It doesn't matter what department of your life. If you have someone with you, you just perform better and you just do more because you do have that. You don't want to look like a bum basically in front of the other person, right? That's the most basic egotistical reason. But you want to be an example for the person that you're with, and you're in a team. She was my co-founder. She was my business partner, my best friend, my cousin, my confidant. We wore many hats in our relationship together. And it's like without her being there, 2024 honestly was a flop. Like 52% on my goals and 67% on my habits. That's not, in my opinion, that's not the results of a peak performer. That's not the results of an elite individual. And so I need to get back to that level of performance. I need to get up to that level of performance and that level of execution. So yes, I am launching a tech company right now, but at the same time, to launch that company in the right way, I need to be held accountable for what I'm doing. So that's the reason why I'm launching this channel now. And thank you so much for being my accountability partner in this process. Without you guys, I don't know, I just can't do another year of 2024. You know what I mean? Put it that way. So look, this is episode 1. I've made a ton of mistakes, but don't worry. They will get better. And essentially in the next video, what we're going to be doing is, it's our first full session together, right? So in our videos, number 1, I always start with the wake ups. The video will show that I'm waking up at 4:30 on that day. So I create the video throughout the day and I post it in the evening, right? Every single day for 365 days. So I'm going to be, the start of the video starts with the 4:30 a.m. wake ups, okay? Then the video will go on to any insights and success principles that I followed that day, or any insights that I've had that day, that I keep in my journal, I keep in my log, right? Then what we're going to do is we're going to, I'm going to pick a comment, one of your comments, that you post, a question, something complex, something like, I'm struggling with this. How do I deal with it? Whether that's email to me or you put it in the comments or it's a DM on LinkedIn or wherever I am. I will pick one, or the team will pick one, and then, I will then break it down for you and actually help answer that question and actually make it actionable in your life. So that's the next part of the video. So 4:30 a.m. wake ups. Then we go into any insights and success principles I had or I used for that day. Then we go into a complex breakdown and make it simple, simplify this for you, for your own life. And then what we do is, tomorrow I'm actually in the video, we're going to introduce the first success blueprint. So throughout the channel, I'm going to have these weekly success blueprints, which are downloadable and freely accessible for you guys. Okay. So what that will be is, it could be a PDF file. It could be a spreadsheet. It could be my habit tracker, my journal log, my sleep tracker. Every single week we will spend the sessions, because the sessions will be, around 20 minutes long. So we'll spend each day breaking down how it works, understanding the document, and then you'll be able to then download it and use it once we finish the week. So every single week you have something to download. And that will be the last part of the video, okay? So we'll wake up at 4:30 a.m. We will go through any insights I've had and any success principles that I've used that day. We will break down something complex and make it simple and actionable. And then last but not least, we will touch upon one of the success blueprints that you're going to be getting that week. Okay. So thank you so much for being here. You've been awesome. And remember, you are the only thing standing between where you are now and where you want to be and what success really looks like. Okay. So go, get out of your way, and I will see you in the next session.